Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we're going to discuss the energetic shift occurring this week as the Sun enters Aries on March 20th at 10:46 a.m. Eastern Time. We move into a new season and we transition into a full new cycle around the astrological wheel. March 20th is the Aries Equinox, often called the spring equinox here in the Northern Hemisphere. In ancient traditions, it was also referred to as Ostara. And it's also International Astrology Day, where we celebrate new beginnings and move into a whole new cycle of astrological growth, consciousness, and development. So a lot is going on March 20th. Additionally, this is also the day that Mercury stations direct at 8 degrees of Pisces, conjunct the North Node. So Mercury stations direct at 3:33 p.m. Eastern Time on March 20th. And this is when Mercury is at a standstill, when there is a full stop as Mercury halts and is being guided to sit with and understand the messages that have been coming through over the course of his retrograde journey that began back on February 25th or 26th. So it has been over 3 weeks, and this particular Mercury station direct at 8 degrees of Pisces, conjunct the North Node, has more fated conversations, developments, ideas, messages, communications, and insights. It has more breakthrough understandings of something that maybe you've been contemplating and trying to figure out. But this particular Mercury stationing direct is going to bring something to you. That is the receptive energy of Pisces. That's also where there is great support for flow, divine timing, and deeper listening. And so all of this is happening here on the first day of Aries season, which is going to be a very dynamic and energized season. So we're going to get into some things to be aware of here as we move through the Aries equinox portal and Mercury stations direct. Now, during every equinox, we experience a turning point in the annual cycle of energies where there is a balance between day and night. The equinox occurs twice a year, and it's when the sun crosses the celestial equator when day and night are of approximate equal length. So right there, we have an energetic balancing point that we are moving through as we begin Aries energy and close out Pisces season, also closing out the previous 12 months. And this year, we also happen to have a Pisces new moon coinciding with these endings. The Pisces new moon is on March 18th at 9:23 p.m. Eastern Time. So for some people, it could be occurring on March 19th. And so the new moon is happening at the end of Pisces season, and it's where we're meant to be very intentional around the new hopes, inspirations, and ideals we wish to put energy into, especially as we cross the threshold into Aries season. So there is almost this double influence on newness with this particular Aries equinox because we have that Pisces new moon on March 18th, 19th, and then the Aries equinox on March 20th. There's a double influence here of beginnings that are ready to come into fruition. You might be feeling the seasons changing depending where you are. You might sense that the earth is starting to awaken after winter, that there is going to be more grass and blooms sprouting, that there will be more to witness that symbolizes this annual rebirth cycle. And so part of the meaning of the spring equinox is that it's return to life and fertility, that these are new beginnings that happen after we've waited for the internal reflections and closures of the previous cycle. And so if some things have felt dormant, still, inactive, and that you've been waiting for new life to come forward, that is one of the ways that Aries season comes through and often takes off. So in your chart, you would identify where you have 0 degrees of Aries, because this is where every year during this particular equinox, you begin a new cycle in this house in your chart that actually carries you through the next 12 months. And so you could identify where you have 0 degrees of Aries, as this is where the rebirth is occurring for you. And you will notice that it happens in similar themes and areas of your life every year. So for example, if you have 0 degrees of Aries up in your 10th house, then you might have a renewal around job, work, or purpose during each Aries equinox. Conversely, if you have 0 degrees of Aries in the 4th house in your chart, then you might have a renewal around home, family, and your personal space. And you may be motivated to renovate something in your immediate environment that brings you comfort and stability. So wherever that 0 degrees of Aries is in your chart by house placement is where this energy specifically shows up for you, and perhaps even gives you a new lease on life or a new desire to make change wherever you have Aries energy. This is also a time of year that's associated with planting seeds, determining what you want to grow and manifest over the next 3 months specifically. And that's because it's over the next 3 months that leads us to the summer solstice, which is the next changing of the seasons. Now, this is important to note simply because of how Western tropical astrology is based on the seasons in our calendar year. And so as we begin each quarter of the year, it signifies a change of seasons that moves us forward. So this being the spring equinox obviously takes us through the next 3 months until we reach the summer solstice, which then takes us through the next 3 months to the fall equinox and so on. So we look at these energies as what can develop and grow over the next 3 months that signifies what you value, need, and want right now. The energy can be very strong around what you're inspired to do in a whole new way. In fact, when I look at the energetics of this particular Aries equinox, we have a full lineup of planets in Aries that is quite rare. And I do have a separate video for you on YouTube going through the Aries equinox chart more specifically. But what we have here is the sun entering Aries. So the sun is at 0 degrees of Aries, plus Neptune at nearly 2 degrees, Saturn at 4 degrees, Venus at 17 degrees, the moon is also in Aries at 20 degrees, plus Chiron is at 25 degrees. So right there, 6 planets in Aries, plus we could bring in Eris, who is also at 25 degrees, and that would bring it to 7 planets in Aries. And what a start to this new season, especially because we're also going to have an Aries new moon on April 17th with 7 planets in Aries as well. So we're going to have a lot of strong Aries initiation, leadership, and pioneering spirit unfolding over this next month. And this is where you might feel that there is a natural force of power and movement showing up for you in the Aries areas of your life. But let's look at this a bit deeper, because all of these planets are in Aries and they are ruled by Mars, and Mars is in Pisces, and that is a softer influence. That's more of moving with spirit, trusting your intuition, knowing when it's time to take a step forward and then when it's time to surrender and step back. And so there's greater inconsistency here that's going to be a part of Aries season, since that Mars in Pisces is going to be ebbing and flowing in ways that make it difficult to plan and perhaps even easy to overlook details and specifics. And so I feel that this is going to be a time when you really want to stay aware of what you're saying yes to and to actually give yourself time to feel into something. Now, all that Aries energy is going to want to get up and go. It could be excited and motivated. It could be the part of you that's saying, yes, this is for me. I'm ready. Sign me up. I've got my backpack on. I'm ready for the next adventure. But this Mars in Pisces wants you to actually drop the energy into your full body and feel into something to determine if you have sustainable energy for this new thing. Because you might find that you're all excited and ready to go on Monday, and then by Thursday, you've totally forgotten about it and you couldn't care less. That is part of how the Aries energy can work, because you get very excited and all fired up and then realize later on it doesn't have any staying power. It isn't made to go the distance. And I feel that this Mars in Pisces is going to be very wise. I'm feeling some wisdom here that's coming in from the higher self and your soul that asks you to really get clear on what serves you now. And also, it's interesting, I'm getting the visual of these new roots going into the earth, grounding us in to a new start, a new beginning that you're committed to at a soul level. There is an intense energetic presence that I'm feeling here. And the commitment is to be in a new version of yourself that is brand new territory, perhaps feeling unknown and uncertain, but you're making a commitment here to a new version of yourself that you're becoming and that you have been becoming. And so this Mars in Pisces is saying, don't go backwards. Don't go back into previous versions, previous actions, previous motivations, because that Mars in Pisces at the end of the zodiac wheel knows the full story of how energies have unfolded, because I'm seeing it as this Mars is at the end of a rainbow and is at the end of that rainbow showing you your own growth and reminding you that now is the time for a new beginning, that both Neptune and Saturn have already started. And so there could be this whole new level of self that you are feeling into and trusting. And I feel that this Mars is ensuring that you keep moving forward and you don't retrograde, you don't reverse back into anything, because you've already completed that journey on that rainbow. You've already landed in the pot of gold. You're done with that story or that experience or whatever the case may be. And these are big new starts that require your own self-commitment to your new self-actualization process. And so we have this sun newly in Aries at 0 degrees, making a conjunction to Neptune at 1 degree 46 minutes of Aries. And interestingly enough, this Neptune in Aries is in mutual reception with Mars in Pisces. That means they're in each other's rulership. It also means they are both in very foreign territory. They're not comfortable in each other's domain, in each other's energy field. And so they actually have support for trusting this newness that you are entering into. I'm getting the visual of the path presenting itself as you step forward, and you can only see 2 paces ahead, similar to that Indiana Jones movie where he has to throw the gravel or the dust in front of him so he can see the next step. And yet when he does so, the next step appears. And so the forward motion here is evident. I'm also hearing guaranteed. There's some things that are meant to now line up for you on this side of the rainbow, where you're ready to venture in to new territory that hasn't been available before. It just wasn't open or accessible, and now it is. And that's part of what is happening on the other side of this Aries equinox, is that we're moving into this whole new terrain of beginnings and new starts that actually beautifully represent your own growth, your own self-identity, your own commitment to your soul's journey. And I'm feeling like for many of you, there's even a bit of hesitation. It's a sense of, oh no, do I want this? Or there could be a sense of, wait, let me just take a breath, take a beat, stop right here and ensure that what I'm choosing or what I'm doing is really what I want. Because I'm feeling like there could be some self-doubt. And that can be a part of this Mars in Pisces, or even some of this Neptune in Aries, is that it's showing you where you're not trusting yourself enough. And in this new territory, that will be a main ongoing requirement. You will have to keep choosing yourself, choosing what feels correct for you. And it takes you into these new chapters and beginnings that are going to unfold perhaps even slower than anticipated. That's part of the Saturn in Aries, where typically Aries is ready to just go for it with gusto and determination. But that Saturn energy is ensuring that you are not speeding off. It actually puts the vehicle in cruise control and ensures you're not going to get a speeding ticket. And so there's something about pacing here that's going to be important this first week of Aries season. And again, I'm feeling like it's about dropping the energy into the body to continually regulate the nervous system. And that goes for even the high enthusiasm or the excitement and motivation that you can feel at times. It's about working with it consciously and responsibly so that you maintain control over it in a responsible way. I'm just going to keep saying the word responsible, because that is Saturn in Aries. Being responsible for yourself, for your energy, being aware of what is in alignment for you and what is not. That's going to be more evident, I feel, in this cycle, because Saturn is perceptive and can understand things and where they're going to go. And Aries is the straight shooter. So you might have some immediate insights around your boundaries and what contributes to your needs and your energy and what depletes your needs and your energy. Now, this Saturn is also in a beautiful sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. And I'm going to have a separate podcast discussing more of that energy because it is a big deal. It's one of the most favorable aspects of this year when we have Saturn in Aries sextiling Pluto in Aquarius at 5 degrees. This is where empowered new beginnings are taking shape. This is the energy of visionary leadership, clear direction forward, putting in the time, energy, and work for a new dream and what you're building. There's alignment here showing up that supports co-creations around a bigger picture dream or vision. I'm also feeling like there's things coming together that are going to be very empowering. We're going to start to see new versions of leadership, new change agents, new understandings of what it means to be an empowered, sovereign individual, as well as how that energy can be shared with those of a similar frequency and vibration. It's almost like there's new soul tribes coming together. There's new developments in where we're going together. It feels very encouraging, very optimistic. Things are going to click and connect. It also feels like that's what we are moving into more powerfully as we enter through the Aries Equinox portal. So that energy is going to be highlighted as well as the Sun in Aries makes a conjunction to Saturn and then sextiles Pluto. I'll be talking more about that on the Wednesday show where we cover the weekly energies. But we're at a whole new level of creation and manifestation right now. And I'm feeling too like there are certain groups, partnerships, and co-creation initiatives that are going to be coming online in this cycle. There are going to be important collaborations, duos, and dynamics that also sync up. I'm seeing this as energy that enforces the building of the new earth. It looks like pieces start coming together. Things are showing up and aligning that have been like scattered about, or one's over here and this is over there and this thing's over there and this idea was way over there. And I'm seeing all these things starting to come together. It's like this interesting magnetic pull that if you were to put a magnet in the middle of the room, it starts to then pull in almost effortlessly and easily everything else it needs from all these different locations. Like that's just the visual I'm getting. So if you were to take that same visual and hold it in your solar plexus and then expand it out into your full aura, look at what you are magnetizing in as this Aries equinox begins that is supporting you in your next level soul contracts, creations, co-creations, collaborations, community work, soul tribe development, clarity of purpose, desire to build something sustainable and lasting. This is really powerful energy for business development. For those of you who are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, or just working on even a passion project or something that you feel is meant to be your next chapter, this is going to be a phase of time when that is beautifully supported. And again, it starts here with the Aries equinox, and then it's going to move us into April. So you could even look at it as the whole Aries season journey includes this energy. And that's because we have numerous energies aligning that are connecting you with the next step, the new frontier, a beginning or starting point. You get the gist. And it's leading to that Aries New Moon on April 17th. And so there will still be a lot being created before the Aries New Moon, but there's going to be more fast-moving developments. Keep in mind that all planets are direct, as this Mercury station's direct as well. And so that means that we have all planets direct until May 6th, when Pluto will station retrograde. And so there's going to be more just syncing up and coming together because it's already an effortless frequency match. Again, going back to that magnet, it just feels like there's a whoosh and then there's a connection or something shows up or the resource you need comes through or the invitation shows up or the breakthrough understanding, the new solution, whatever the case may be. There's things that want to move you forward. The universe wants to move you forward as we move into the Aries equinox. And then also with that Mercury conjunct the North Node, there's a sense of being ready to move forward without the details, without everything mapped out in a clear, specific way. There's a sense of I'm trusting what shows up and what comes through, that I will be led and guided as I move forward. That's also part of this Mars in Pisces that is also influential. So very strong Pisces and Aries energy here that's moving you into new external creations and expressions that are ready to come alive. It feels like we're moving through a very powerful, energetic doorway. And so the universe is asking you, what is ready to grow now? What seeds of your soul are ready to emerge? Where are you ready to show up in a new way or do something in a new way that now represents your energy field? Where are you willing to say yes to life at a new level of your being? So this is going to be, again, fast, forward-moving energy, taking you into new developments and chapters. This, of course, will depend on how you work with Aries energies. Some people apply the brakes, they slow it down, it moves too fast. Other people want to throw more gasoline on the fire and make it bigger, faster, better. So it will depend on how you work with this strong Aries energy that is initiating you into a new beginning and a new life chapter. And so I hope as we move through this portal, you feel the energies pick up to support you. I hope you feel that it's now easier to take those next steps forward. I hope it also grants you beautiful insights into anything that hadn't come together just yet, because sometimes we can question and doubt what is unfolding and what is coming together. But this is where I think it's always wise to turn to the beauty of nature and how nature always trusts every cycle. That as we trust the stillness of winter, when the soil regenerates, when life can feel quieter and even emptier, that's when the hidden work is happening underground or behind the scenes. That's when new roots are forming. There's an accumulation developing that's going to support the next level growth, but we don't see it, even though we can feel it. But this is when those transformations are not seen. Then we move into spring, where the light increases, the temperatures rise, snow melts, so there's naturally more movement. In fact, there's going to be a lot of water movement over the next few months. That's strong in this chart. And then we see new blades of grass emerging in the ground, new leaf buds starting to form. And it shows us with new evidence that the next cycle is here, the new beginnings are evident, and that what has been unseen, working beneath the surface and working internally, now is ready for the next cycle and the new growth. And so I hope that assists in seeing any cycles in your own life or any places that you've been waiting to see that, of course, there's going to be new growth and new development arrive. And I hope that it beautifully aligns for you during the beginning of Aries season and the equinox energies. I will discuss more of what is unfolding in the first week of Aries season on the Wednesday podcast episode, but I hope this has helped ground you into what you're ready to see and create now, and how it may show up for you beautifully and swiftly with a strong focus on Aries planets. So again, please check out my YouTube channel where you'll find the astrology chart reading for the Aries equinox. Otherwise, I look forward to connecting with you again on Wednesday. Take good care. Have a beautiful day. Thank you as always for your time, energy, and presence, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.